I always feel I feel so delighted when I see people drop everything on a Friday night and you are here to learn. It's awesome. I give you thumbs up for that and I give you a round of applause. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. We don't take it for granted. Thank you very, very much. This evening, we are going to talk with our fellows and doctoral fellow. You wonder why this pre-induction training? They always say that we should remove the boys from the men. And that is why we decided to say, okay, let's take you a notch higher than others that we are going to meet tomorrow, because tomorrow there'll be the induction proper, which will be physical and online as well, be hybrid, as we always say. So thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. We don't take it for granted. And it will be a roller coaster, beautiful evening together. So, as we always say in training, please, training, learning, and development, unlearn, relearn, and that is where we are here. Thank you. I've been introduced, and I'm going to go straight into the presentation, and I will share my screen. If you can see my screen, please let me know. Let me put the screen on so that uh, something is wrong this evening. Let me see. Uh, the thing was on earlier, but let's see what's going on. Did you? I don't know what is desktop one. Just give me, just give me a few minutes. Let me. Uh, let me see what's going on. At times some of this. Okay, it's back. It got me sweating already. I was scared that I wouldn't I be able to share my slide. So I'm sure you can see my slide. Sorry, you can see my screen, and I'm going to share my slide. So you're going to see the slide now. Let's start from the beginning and get to see that. And let me do this and do this. Okay. We are on now. I always like to put my participant at ease. Please, in all situations, all answers are correct. In adult class, Baba no dey fail. Ask me any question, there'll be no nonsense question, no nonsense answer. Remove the none from the nonsense and leave sense for us. We make sense of whatever question that you're going to ask. If you cannot ask your question this night, please feel free to keep them aside, put them in the parking bay. Tomorrow morning, when we are on hybrid for the general house, because this evening we are for fellows and doctoral fellows. Tomorrow we're going to have our associates, the graduates, and other members. So if you cannot ask the question this night, please feel free, put them in the parking bay. Tomorrow morning we'll attend to them. So this evening we are going to talk about something that you will love. It's a topic that we will never, ever exhaust talking about, and that is about leadership, and that's about attitude. So this topic is very important for those of us at the level of fellows and doctoral fellow. When you say you are a doctoral fellow of this institute, people assume that you should be a leader in your own right. If you are a fellow, people look up to you and say, there must be something about you that got you to that level. And they will expect so much from you. So as a fellow and a doctoral fellow, people always put on your shoulder that they will expect much from us. So let's quickly see what we are going to talk about this evening. That's me. Sometimes ago, I led the team that won the Star Partner Award. I was fortunate enough to have had a handshake with the immediate past vice president. I've not washed the hand since that time. since 2017. So take the anointing. Okay, so don't worry. The anointing may not be for Professor Shibajo, but it may be for something else greater and higher. So this evening, let's quickly see what I call unpack the agenda. You're welcome on board. Your attitude determines your leadership style. We are going to talk about, we have to examine the organizational culture. We need to define leadership style. We're going to understand what we mean by corporate bones, the ability to serve as a leader. Attitude defined, the role of attitude in leadership, then leadership competence matrix. On that matrix, where are you? Then the strategies that you can use to develop a positive leadership attitude, because some of us may have this and we do not know that they are not adding value to our lives. Then we'll have the takeaway. After which, hopefully, we should be able to finish in time. If not, we'll take the questions tomorrow. So let's get started. Welcome on board. I am Ayode Abike Igbeyi for those who are still joining us or just joining us, and a fellow of the Institute, a doctoral fellow, and immediate past president of NITAD. The importance of leadership in Nigerian corporate setting. I'm sure so many people will say, why corporate setting? Because we're not talking of the general setting where politics and other things, the Nigerian politics, not office politics, because we have office politics and we also have the Nigerian politics, the politics that take people to the National Assembly or wherever. But in the corporate setting, how we influence our corporate culture as leaders, the impact on employees' engagement and productivity as leaders. Then what is our role in navigating local and global challenges? Because Nigeria is still part of the global setting. Wherever we find ourselves, we are still in the global space. And now that it's a global village, they always say. So whatever we do will resonate outside of these shores. So how can we determine the culture of an organization? You say it's not, if we are lucky to be part of the founding members, then we determine our culture. But in most cases, when we find ourselves, we find ourselves in an organization that the culture is already there. So what do we do? How do we now determine the culture of that organization? How do we plug ourselves in there to be able to get it? So we need to answer that question in the course of our discussion this evening. But by three methods, we learn wisdom. First, by reflection, which is noblest. You become a noble if you reflect on whatever has taken you to where you are or where it will take you. Secondly, by imitation. One of my friends used to say that imitate shamefully or copy shamefully. But when you go out there, display like a royal. So when you are in a culture within an organization, you learn to imitate those things that are good. That when you go out there, people will say, "Oh, which organization is that person coming from? Though they have a good culture and all those things." So when you imitate within the organization and you go out there, you go and display royally, and that is part of leadership. Then, which is the easiest, and the third one by experience, which is the bitterest. Thus says Confucius, that Chinese philosopher. He said we don't have to learn from our own experience, because at times when we do, we may not have the opportunity to do that thing again. So it's usually said that experience is the best teacher. However, it doesn't have to be your own experience. You can learn from other people's experience. So what are we talking about? Let's quickly get to talk about definition of some of the terms that we are going to come across this evening. Organization or corporate culture, as is defined in several ways, is a system of informal rules. Informal, because in most cases you do not say our culture is written in this. It is something that has been carried on over time. And as a leader, you need to plug yourself in there. You will not say, okay, let's put it on paper, let's do this one. There are things that they are not born with it, but somehow people get to see that they follow that pattern. So it's an informal role. Culture is informal, but we get to imbibe it. So it's a unique configuration of norms, values, beliefs, and ways of behaving that we distinguish one group from another, that we distinguish one individual or one organization from another. If you see the big lettering there, it says collective programming of the mind. Collective programming of the mind. It's not that we're brainwashed, but we believe in it. It's something when they say, what's your culture? They say, oh, we are this, we are that, with that. They say, how did you come? I say, I just found them doing it, and I think it's at times, most of this culture, they evolve after a while. If the leaders of that organization feel that this culture is not adding value to our system, they change. So culture is not something that is cast in stone. At times, they change. There are norms, there are values, there are things that are we drop if we feel they're not adding value. It's a way of behaving. If the way of behaving does not suit us or does not add value, we drop them. So informal. So what is culture? Culture is a web. You find yourself entangled. Imagine the spider. Most of us see the spider inside the web. You find yourself caught in the web of culture. There's nothing you can do about it, even if you are the leader, unless when you are in the boardroom or in the C-suite and you say, we need to change some things about us. We need to change some. So what do we need to do? We need to be inside to feel, to see, smell, touch, and hear it so that it will make sense. So say, why are they behaving like that? Why is it that people are wearing dress down on Friday? Why is it that people are doing this? Well, it's a system of shared meaning. It makes meaning to us. In some organization, they will say, our team lead or our bosses or whoever, whatever we call them, that we should be addressing them by their first name. That is a culture in some organization. Well, I'll give you a story. One of my friend's daughters went to this organization. She just passed out from the university then. She met her mother's friend, whom obviously they call mommy or auntie at home when she comes visiting. But the culture of the organization say call everybody by first name. So she got to the place and she met this person and they said, you should call her Mary. He said, me, call mommy Mary, Mary. No, it's not possible. You know, he set the girl back and she just felt, no, she can't work in this place for long. That culture for her was not something she could stay with. But if you find yourself as a leader, what would you do? So a poor culture can lead a staff to staff with disengagement and customer dissatisfaction. I tell you, that girl left not more than 6 months after she found herself outside of the shores of this country. And I asked her one day, I said, how are you doing now that you call all your line managers by first name, John, James, and all and all? He said, Mommy, that is here. But there in Nigeria, I can't call my mother's age mate Mary. It is not possible. So it takes months and years to grasp. So, and how things are done in certain organization. So as leaders, as doctoral fellow, what changes are we bringing on board after now? After now, tomorrow we will be inducted. Tonight we are having the pre-induction. What are those things that are within our culture as within our organization, even if we find ourselves working in public sector that has its own set rules? How do you manage the people within your space? So culture is seen in what? In your dress code, in your language, goals, attitude, policies, rules, thoughts, behavior, and everything that makes people to feel that they are part of this system. You know, the dress code can make some people say, I'm not there. Especially now that most of us are working with the Gen Zs and the millennial. Some of them come with their, what do they call that, dreadlocks? Some come with tattoo. Some come with just anything. Some of them cannot be found dead wearing suit. They want to dress down every time. Casual, we call it casual, official, casual, something like that. That's where I can't be. So they want to be free. They have come up with the idea that you can wear sneakers on suit. But in those days, it was a sacrilege for you as a leader to see one of your associate dressed like that. So, as I said, one thing as leaders and doctoral fellows is that what difference are we coming on board with? What are we going to do after now? So our leaders' way should be what? We should lead, we should share, we should improve and inspire those that we are leading. Remember, at times we find ourselves in that web, not only the cultural web, but the generational gap issue. So what do you want to do? The first thing you should do is lead them so that their actions will be aligned with their values, with the norms, and whatever we are doing in the organization. Share with them why we are doing what we are doing. Then we have to do what? Also look at the opportunities that are there as for us as leaders and be able to inspire them to move forward. So look at this. What are you going to do with the fellow that the award of the fellow that we're getting tomorrow or the doctoral fellow? So looking at leadership and the expectation. If you look at this pyramid, from the bottom, from the bottom, you get the employees up to the peak of the pyramid, where the CEO or where we get those in the C-suite. So on the left-hand side, you see the people that are involved. On the right-hand side, you see the activities or whatever they go through in order to be the CEO, in order to be able to relate with stakeholders. As fellows, as leaders of thought, what do you do? As employees, we coming into the organization, perform our day-to-day activities. If you want to, at this level, it's like Oga sell, Oga does not sell. Conductor's money must to complete. At the end of the day, I should collect my money, I go. 30 days make a pay. But at supervisory level, we are moving towards what? Being that leader, being the team lead. So these are some of the areas that we need to look at. Where are you on this pyramid? Are you a supervisor and you want to get our fellow or doctoral fellow tomorrow? So you need to manage execution, because when those things come from the C-suite, from the CEO, from the executive, it lands on the supervisory or middle management. They are the ones that do the job, and we are going to see them when we talk about the corporate bones. Then management, these are the people that they are the front line. Immediately, whatever is said, the policies are made, they are the ones. And in most cases, we find ourselves at that level as HR, okay? Performance management. We find ourselves at that level. What are we doing? What can we do after you have earned the fellow and doctoral fellow from this institute tomorrow? Executive, some of us are in that category, okay? Not just HR, but maybe group HR or whatever. We are in that level to determine strategies, and at the level of CEO, we set direction for the organization. So look at on the right-hand side. Employees, they have a lot of challenges because they need to work based on what has been sent down to them. At supervisory level, the empowerment to be able to manage those below them. At managerial level, we set objectives, okay? Then executive missions, and above there, we have vision and values. So we need to manage very well, or else we will not be called the person that has that doctoral or fellow certificate that we are going to earn tomorrow. So let's quickly look at defining leadership style. On the right-hand side, that is the leadership style matrix. These are all the titles and whatever way we can describe different leaders: visionary, transactional, transformational. At times when we are asked, we say, oh, I'm a servant leader. At one point in time, I think the governor of Niger State was referring to himself as the servant leader. Okay, that one came and left. So some will say they are visionary, they are this, they are that. When we finish, look at all of this. Where are you on this matrix? Are you laissez-faire? Of course, nobody ever. That one, I don't think is applicable nowadays. Charismatic, yes. Situational, very good. Democratic, how democratic are we in terms of percentage on that spectrum? Autocratic, servant leader, and the rest. So what is leadership style? The approach and behavior a leader uses to guide, motivate, and manage their team. It's a quality. Quality. It's not something that you just start with. It's something that you feel that, yeah, I'm capable of inspiring people. Because it is said that if your action inspires others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. So says Quincy Adams. So if you do all of this, you will realize that it is not about you. Leadership is not about you. When you become a leader, leadership is about growing others. So the type of leadership style that will determine how you relate will show your attitude, the type of attitude that you have. And if that attitude is not adding value, please change your leadership style. So let's quickly look at how culture affects your leadership style, or how your leadership style will fit into a toxic culture. Most times we always talk about good culture, but let's look at toxic ones. Because some people will say that organization is toxic. What do you mean by toxic culture? No lack of communication, lack of work balance, ignoring feedback. People will just, I've heard some people say that some of their CEOs or those that are working in one-man business, that some of them have even gone to the extent of saying, where were your parents when I was setting up my organization? This you cannot get in the public sector. In the public sector, the worst you can get is wait for your turn. But what do we do? These are some of the things that we are talking about as leaders. When you see that there are some people that have bright ideas down there, let's operate what we call the bottom-up approach. The bottom-up approach is the one-off thing that somebody has a brilliant idea and you allow the person to is he online now, offload that idea, and we allow him to say, okay, it's not that you're a leader, but you have something of value to us. So when you're working in a toxic environment, what type of leadership style would you put up as a style for CEOs? And these are some of them. On the right hand side: visionary, decisive, empowering, goal-oriented, mentor, and inclusive. In a toxic environment, how can you use these 6 leadership styles to change a toxic environment to that environment or culture that will make people want to stay and they will not japa on you? So when you receive the certificate of being a fellow or a doctoral fellow tomorrow, please look inside of you. Check your environment. What are those things that you can change? What are those things that you can influence? Who are those that you can inspire? Because people will look up to you. You cannot be brandishing doctoral fellow and not make a difference. Okay? Overworking employees. This issue of overworking employees, I'll tell you a story of, it's on my phone. And that is, I saw it online that a robot committed suicide in Japan. You wonder that the era of AI and everything, and all of us are going to rely on technology and everything. The robot felt overused and jumped from wherever and landed on the floor. So because it was overused, instead of human beings to do what they expected to do, they gave it to the robot, and the robot felt this was it. So what we need to do is that if robots will commit suicide, what will happen to human beings? Overworking employees. People just feel that this is it. So we need to, these are the 10 traits of toxic culture: underplaying employees, lack of recognition. If you don't recognize your talent, they will move. So that is why we need to manage them well. As leaders, let us try as much as possible not to micromanage. You give somebody an assignment, let's see how well he can do it. But even if you are going to keep an eye on the person, don't let him feel that, oh, you gave me the job, you don't allow me to do it. So we should be able to monitor and control, but not over. Okay, so we need to set expectations and give them, as HR, their KPIs, their key results areas, and whatever we need to give them. So favoritism and vague job expectation. When I was in service, we were always given targets that were beyond what we could cope. One day, we challenged our team lead. I said, okay, see, this job is usually, it's too much for us. How do you expect us to finish up within this way? He said, if I gave you something that was simple, you will finish in time. And how do we measure it? So everybody will finish and you sit down idle. So they always give us assignments, targets that will stretch us and bring out the best in us. But for whatever it is worth, but they still know that we'll be able to achieve. So as HR, how well are we giving people their targets, their job schedule, and whatever they need to do? And are we giving them the resources to be able to do the job well? So where are you? We have talked about CEs, we have talked about visionary, we have talked about decisive and whatever. So now let's look at what is referred to. We are still defining leaders. Let's look at what is referred to as catalyst leader. A catalyst leader listens, foster innovation, listens to feedback. He builds trust amongst his people. If you read all this down, is it possible for you to be a catalyst leader, a transformative leader, or what is it that where do we want to find ourselves? So let's look at it. Which one will work for us? So we need to be conscious of what we need to do. If there are some things that, like what you call unconscious bias, how do we get ourselves out of them and be ready to ensure that everybody does what it's supposed to do? So on that, on the right hand, on the right hand side, I have what you call the unconscious incompetence. Someone that does not know that he doesn't know. That person you are likely as a leader to influence and inspire. Conscious incompetence, he knows. No, so unconscious incompetence, he doesn't know that he does not know. Conscious incompetence, he knows that he does not know, but he's not ready to. So what do? These are people that their attitude will permeate wherever you. They know that they do not know, but they want to assert themselves on you. The unconscious competence, he knows that is good. These are people that we call the flyers, the A flyers. What do? The unconscious competence, I know. So, but this type of people could undermine your activities. So it's up to you to look at who would you influence out of this four. Unconscious competence. I don't know that I have that in me, unconscious, but I have the competence, but I did not realize it. So are you going to bring that out so that you'll be able to inspire that person to be a high flyer? So the greatest discovery of my generation is that people can alter their lives by altering their attitude of mind. So you, as a leader, please influence any of these four to be able to deliver what the organization wants us to deliver. So whatever leadership style we have, please serve. Serve now becomes an acronym for style, substance, satisfaction, empathy, which is different from sympathy. Manage them as if you are managing yourself. Put yourself in their shoes. Resourcefulness, initiative, go the extra mile. Have the X factor in whatever you are doing. Add value and be efficient in whatever you are doing so that you set direction, give direction, because success is not about yourself. Okay? Before you become a leader, success is about growing yourself. But once you become a leader, Jack Welch says that success is about growth, growing others. And that is why we have the leadership pipeline. You need to be able to move people ahead and see what they are doing in order to get to where we want to be. So that's why I brought this Igbo proverb. I don't know whether it's a true translation. It is not about, it's not out of the benevolence of the butcher that we get meat, but in serving his interest, he serves our own. That means it's not because you are the leader that you now say, okay, I'm going to, I don't know how to put it now, but for whatever it is, the butcher wants to serve his meat, sells his meat. It's not because he loves us so much that is why he brought his meat out there. He can't eat it alone, but he needs to make money. So as he's serving our interest, he's also serving his own interest. So as a leader, as you are serving your interest as a leader, don't forget the organizational goal within within your space of influence. So now let's look at understanding corporate bones. What do you mean by corporate bone? The four corporate bones are the wishbone, the jawbone, the knuckle bone, and the backbone. Which one are the wishbone? The wishbone are the operatives, like that pyramid that you have, the employees at the bottom of the pyramid, of the triangle, pyramid of triangles. They are the operatives that do the actual work, day-to-day activity. And their work is quantifiable in terms in the organization. They have delivered, they have not delivered, they are doing this, they are not doing that. They are generally what? The junior cadre, but very crucial to the success or otherwise of the organization. Imagine when a cleaner does not come to the office, you feel uncomfortable. When a floor worker does not produce in the manufacturing sector, something goes wrong. We will not be able to make our profit. So managers, leaders must recognize their contribution at all times. Imagine, let me give you a story to quickly round this. Uh, there was this our manager then, very, very tough man. He was transferred to Lagos. And Lagos of those days, there was no last man, all those type of things. So it was so hard that even when the driver was driving, he would use his hand to punch his neck or head from the back. Don't you know what you're doing? Can't you do that? So the driver one day, he has targeted that the day this man does that to him again, they will be on the Ikorodu road and he will stop him there. And this man, not that he didn't know how to drive, just to tell you that no matter how small somebody is within an organization, is very important. So this fateful day, the Oga did as he used to do. The driver just stopped in the middle of Ikorodu Road. Those who know the Ikorodu Road, it's like stopping on Maitama Road and everything. And it's not that you don't know how to drive, but you can't navigate. It's not the era of where you put Google Map and all those things. The man just stopped in Banga and said, Oga, take it, I'm going. And he came back to the office. Where is Oga? Where is Oga? He said, Oga is coming. So he was ready to put in his paper and move. But when Oga managed to find his way back, he was able to move the car from the center of the road or wherever. I don't know how he found his way back to the office. We thought that he was going to sack the guy, but he didn't. They made up and that was it. So it is said that if you want to know how important a mosquito is, sleep with one under a mosquito net. Then you will know that no matter how small that mosquito is, there's something important about it. You will not have a good night's sleep. So the jawbone are equally very important in the organization as they form the supervisory cadre. Remember that we said the employees, the supervisor, or whatever we said. So they are the supervisory cadre. They are the supervisor, senior foremen, middle level managers. They take instruction from the knuckle bones and give directives to the wishbone. Okay, you see, they are midway there. And some of us are HR, some of us may not be, must have passed that level. So they serve as a go-between and and assess the work of the operatives. So it's very important that we get to know where we are. So sorry, what happened? Let me go back. The 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 knuckle bone are the ones that they are the I must have omitted something there. Okay, the knuckle bone, sorry. Okay, let's get the knuckle bone. The knuckle bone see to the day-to-day are running of the business. They form the senior and executive management of the organization. Okay, they are part of, knuckle. This is our knuckle. They see to the running of move, 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 get it done. They are the people that oversee the activity of the jawbone. Okay, so they are there. So they call the shot and make things happen within the organization. They are the drivers of the business. Okay, so they are the drivers of the business. Chief executive managing director is part of the knuckle bone. So who are the backbones? The backbones are the owners of the business. They are the owners of the business. People that are in the private sector will know this. And even if you're not in the private sector, you must have related with people in the private sector, the backbone. So the backbone are the owners of the business. They are the board of governors and whatever. And they take major decisions in the running of the business. They are the ones that go to get loan to run the business. But for whatever it is, some of us as fellows or doctoral fellow, we find ourselves in all of these areas, the 4 areas. So wherever we find ourselves, but definitely not wishbone. From jawbone to backbone, that is where we find ourselves as fellows and doctoral fellow of this institute. So let's quickly move on to attitude. Attitude, like the native people always say, is like smoke. You can't cage it. Somehow, somewhere, people will see. They may not smell it, but immediately they see you, they say you have an attitude. So attitude is defined as the persistent tendency to think, feel, and behave in a particular way. Think, feel, and behave in a particular way. Because at times, some of us will look at it and say, oh, I can't relate. I'm part of the knuckle bones. I can't relate with those who are on the shop floor or the jawbone and all those things. But these are the people that make it happen. So as leaders, we need to be able to think, at times, think like them, feel for them. That is why we mention empathy, and behave as if we are all together. I've seen some people as MD or whatever, when they are coming to the shop floor, in those days, I don't know whether it's still there, that when they see themselves on the shop floor and those 4 supervisors are even eating granite or what, they say, oh, let me just take one, but I don't know. But this era of so many people will say before they will poison me or they will put witch or whatever, witchcraft or whatever in it. But whatever it is, it affects the way we think, it affects the way we feel, and the way we behave to other people within our space. So let's look at it. The role of attitude in leadership. Let's quickly look at that. We need to understand that attitude, as we have said, feel, think, and behave. So how do we now understand that? A settled way of thinking or feeling about someone or about something. So, and it's usually divided into 2, positive or negative. Okay. So it has a lot of impact on the leaders, because the leader will use that, either the negative way that will bring about the toxic environment in the workplace, or the positive one that will bring relationship within the workplace. So the impact is that it will affect the decision that that person will make, because it will affect the emotional state of the person. Your attitude will affect your emotional state. Your attitude will determine how you make decisions that will affect the whole organization or your team. It will affect the way you speak, and it will also bring about conflict resolution. If your decision is not right, then you make a lot of wrong things that will affect everybody. So let's quickly look at, when do you make the big D? The D now stands for what? Decision. And for those who wrote this, they said that the timing of your decision will affect the choice of whatever you do. So let's look at it. The key to success in decision making is as much as timing as making the right choice. The wrong decision at the wrong time is disaster. The wrong decision at the right time, mistake, you can't be forgiven. The right decision at the wrong time is unacceptable, because they believe that as a fellow or doctoral fellow of this institute, and you're a leader of thought, please, we cannot accept that. But the right decision at the right time will lead you to success. So which do you want to? Put yourself up for success and you will get there. So positive attitude. Remember, I said attitude is a two-pronged a spike or something that you need to, positive and negative. So what do we want? Let me quickly look at, before I talk about positive and negative. Some people have been putting something in the chat box. Let me see what, because I said we need to talk with you. Can we please get, yes. You will get it. Right decision at the right time. Thank you, Adesumbo Williams. You said right decision at the right time. Yes. So good evening. All this is good evening. Good evening. Okay. Somebody said his phone will soon be off. So the recording and everything and these slides will be sent to our to us later. Okay. So attitude is two-way system, positive or negative. But we don't want the negative, because we don't want the toxic environment in the workplace. Toxic environment will take people to out of the system. They will fly. They will fly. And remember, the new generation, the 4 generations we have in the workplace, who are they? Gen X, whether 1 or 2, Gen Z, Millennial, and the Alpha. They are there. And remember, the office will outlive the worker. when even if we don't like them, one day we will leave the office for that to talk about characteristics of a positive attitude. Please look at the sunny side of life. Don't look at it and say, oh, this person can never do well. This person, no matter what, Nigeria, the environment we find ourselves is a diverse society. And thank God for the new national anthem. In brotherhood we stand. Oh, no, don't tongue and do those whatever. Tongue and tribe may differ, yet. Don't blame me. We sang it when I was in my primary school and everything. Now that it has come back, I have to start recalling well it was sung. So whatever it is, though tongue and tribe may differ, in brotherhood we stand. In diversity, let's not look at it that okay, because this person is like this or this organized, this person is from this tribe. What do? We need to manage, be optimistic that this person will do well. This person will do well. Don't look at it as what we call self-fulfilling prophecy. Negative, very negative. So please don't look at it. Don't look at it. Okay. It is very important that we manage them very well. Okay. Now, optimism. Be optimistic. Look at the what we call positive mental attitude. Positive mental attitude. Look at that. That is optimism, open-mindedness, resilience. Even if things that you experienced in the past were not good enough, bounce back. That is the resilient spirit in the Nigerian. So we need to look at it, bounce back. That is not the end of the world. Bounce back and see what you can do. So once you are optimistic, you are open-minded, you are resilient, you will not look at it. Don't think back. It's always said that use the what you call the windshield, that front screen to drive. Not all the time looking at the rear view mirror so that you'll be able to move. So what are the benefits of this to a leader? You foster a motivating work environment. You enhance problem-solving capabilities. Be that person that people will look at and say, when I get to that person's desk, my problems are solved. Let your desk be the final bus stop, like we always say, the final bus stop of any problem. What can you do? If you cannot do it, look out for who the person can reach out to. That means as leaders, we should be coaches, we should be counselors, we should be mentors to be able to help people to get there. So enhance problem-solving capability. Don't be the problem. And even if you are the problem, please look at it. What can I do to change the system? So build trust and respect among team members. It is up to you. So that is why we have this win-win, win-win. At any point in time, let it be a win-win situation. Don't say, yes, I have been able to show that I am a leader. So if it is 50-60, if it is 60-40, 70-30, 50-50, everybody should go home satisfied and happy. Let's quickly look at this. This is question time, lesson time. A case study. Positive corporate leadership in Nigeria. Can you identify, don't unmute any of these 4 Nigerians, noble Nigerians? If you can, just type it in there and let me see. I'm sure one of them you may not know. So your time starts now. Type. I'm waiting. The first person will get something tomorrow. Let's see. Let me see. Which one? Oh, Victor. I thought you will not get it. Victor Odumodu. Whoosh. That is the person I thought people will not get. See, somebody said, Professor Akuyele. Please don't spoil the Akuyele Jare. Yes. Who is this? Anoleka. How can you say Akuyele? Adamu Shiroma. Can you imagine? No, yes. Kamali Olonosode, yes. Udon Kamal, yes, you're right. Dora Akunyili, yes. Somebody is missing out. Sule, my Tama Sule, yes. My Tama Sule, yes, you're right. Yes, Dora Aku, what professor? Oh, no, that person is laughing. Who late my Tama Sule? One of them is still alive. Nobody got that. I thought you would not even get my Chama Sule. That's interesting. You don't know the Baba beside Akoyole, Dora, my role model, Pauline. That's good. Ah, my Chama Sule. Oh no, oh no, oh no, somebody. Doctor, oh no. Yes, you got it. Caleb, you got it. Yes, yes. No, not Banji Akintoye. No. Oh, if I tell you, then the whoever got, I won't give you something tomorrow. Who say, see, can you imagine? Nwadike says, Okonjo Iweala, I will find you. If I get you tomorrow, I'll find you. Huh? Nwadike, I will get you tomorrow. Hmm? Akunyali, you see? Oh my. Who says Emeka Nyoko? Ah, Binta. No. Okay, then. Okay. Since nobody, I said so that if I flash this picture, I know that they will not get everybody. This Baba in white that is smiling beside Akunyuli is Baba Michael Dr. Omolayole. Noble Nigerians. Noble Nigerians. Michael Omolayole. You see yourself? Okay, let's go back. Let's go back to our lecture. These are examples of Nigerian leaders, okay, in their own rights. They made impact. How well are you going to do that in your own space? Okay, Michael Omolayole, somebody did not get that. Check my chat. Who said that? Kehinde Kanye. I didn't see that before. I will see it later. I got it. Kehinde, I didn't see it before. Sorry about that. I thought nobody did. I thought nobody did. Okay, let's overview of leadership style and their achievement. If you go online and Google them, you see how they made impact. So how their positive attitude contributed to their success, as well as I happen to have met Baba Omolayole of recent. I have a lot of recordings of whatever he said in recent times on my phone. Anytime I go to him, I tell him, Daddy, can I record you? They say, go ahead, and I'll record him. So many of whatever they did, you will want to emulate. Okay. So negative attitude in corporate leadership, and that is negative attitude for you. Pessimism, resistance to change. This is how we've been doing. We can't change. Even culture, we change. Lack of empathy. Okay. You just say, turn by turn, that's your headache. They may not even tell you straight that is your headache. They say turn by turn, wait for your turn. Without feeling how that person feels. Okay. Consequences for leaders. They create a toxic work environment when they are a negative leader. To getting a fellow or doctoral fellow of this institute, please, let's look inside. Let's look inwards. Let's see what we can do to make the environment good enough. People are jackparing out of Nigeria, and some are jackpada, and they now realize that the problem is our leaders. Don't talk about politics now, but even in the workplace. I've seen people that have said that, see, when I leave the organization, they will join my salary to your own. I will leave. They will leave. And I tell them, you will now become a rolling stone that gathers no more. They say, let it be. But at least I will leave the organization for that person. So what are the consequences of this? Creating a toxic work environment, high employee turnover. Some will just leave their good job and move. Reduce productivity and innovation. They will just be there. Oga sell, Oga does not sell. Conductor's money must to complete. 30 days make a pay. I will just be there. And these are the people that we call presenteeism, not absenteeism. When you're absent, you know that you are not there. But presenteeism, they are there. They're not contributing anything. They're waiting for 30 days. After the 30 days, they collect their salary. Because especially if you talk of some people in different organizations, I won't want to be specific, in some organization, probably most cases in the public sector, you can't sack me unless there is gross misconduct. So whatever it is, we need to, as leaders, show the way. So let's quickly, we may not be able to mention because it's also within our Shokoto here. So mention some countries around the world of an effective leader. Don't mention Nigeria. I'm not here. I'm not here. Just mention, because they don't know whether we are mentioning them as we are here. China. Did you say China? Uninspiring, not China. I will not. China is good. Me that I cannot go and live there. China. I thought, mm, mm, but no, 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 no. South Korea. No mention Nigeria now. Rwanda, no. No, not China. Singapore, no. I said ineffective leaders. Japan. Ah, no, not Nigeria, my country. No, Cameroon. Yes, Cameroon, yeah. Not Nigeria, not Nigeria. Be patriotic now. No, no. You are supposed to mention, mention a country close to that. Yes. Who said that? Let me see. Somebody said North Korea, not Nigeria, North Korea. Those who mention North Korea, the people are suffering. They're not eating. This guy is amassing atomic weapons. Thank you for that. Ineffective. And it's a nation where it's a family. Even if the man dies today, the daughter that is 10 years old will take over. So what type of country is that? It was like what they had when when Iran was under the Tsars of Iran. So North Korea, thank you, Mumuni. Thank you. Mumuni is rice. Oh, Singapore. Singapore was good, but I don't know what it is. Benin Republic now is here. Uganda. I'm not too sure. But the one I'm very certain is North Korea. North Korea is very good. If you USA, why are we running there? Some people said Iran. Yes. 80, you are very good. Somebody said North Korea is far better than Nigeria. Please, Reverend Amana, please, do you want to go there so that we give you one-way ticket? Venezuela, I don't know much about that, but 80 and whatever. Thank you so much. Let's move on. Then overview of the leadership style challenges faced by their people. Okay, everybody knows about North Korea. They are hungry. They are spending billions in amassing nuclear munitions and whatever. How their negative attitude into their effectiveness. Okay, nobody. It's an isolated country. Isolated. People don't want to read. If you mistakenly go there, have you seen any black man there? So let's talk about our attitude in the workplace. Your attitude. Ask yourself the question: is your attitude making waves or ripples? Look at it, making waves or ripples, so that when people see you, they say, Oga, good morning, sir, Oga this, Oga whatever. They are ready to work with you. They are ready to be with you. They are ready to be in your company, and they don't mind when you come in. Your company, your department, or you. So are you making waves or ripples? Ripple is you just drop a drop of water and it just goes like that and it fizzles out. But waves people like you because you relate, you are there, the relationship is good. So as leaders and fellows and doctoral fellows of this institute, let your attitude be good. That is why we came up with this, the be attitude. For those who are Christian, remember the beatitude, the be attitude, the attitude we want, the be attitude. Blessed are those who this, blessed are those that. So this one is the be attitude in management. Be aware of and care for and capture hearts. So the be attitude, be aware that some people are not enjoying whatever you're doing. Care for those. That means empathize, capture hearts, and see what you can do. So recognize and focus on the needs of those around you. Learn to recognize our own value and build on self-esteem so that you'll be able to see that when they look at you, they will say, yes, that's the type of leader I want to be. Then help others to recognize their value and self-esteem. Commit to creating a win-win relationship. Recognize somebody is asking me. Somebody is asking me, let me see. Kindly clarify the better of the two, making waves or ripples. Depending on wherever you stand, if you can make waves, then you carry people along. If your ripples will fizzle out at a point in time, then you are not making enough impact. Stand by the side of Atlantic Ocean, you see that the waves, you will feel it's carrying people along. That means if your leadership traits are good, people will want to be like you. So the waves. But if your leadership traits are good, but you hoard the good things from people, you just be like a drop in a bucket of water. After a while, it forms the ripple effect. It just fizzles out, and nobody knows what you have done. So we need to be able to see Are you there for people? Are you carrying people along? So commit to, let me see the question. Commit to, okay, commit to, thank you for that. Commit to a winning relationship, recognizing and rewarding excellence so that you'll be able to retain your talents. Okay, care for your people and they will care about the job. Remember, as a leader, as a fellow, when I was introduced as a doctoral fellow, I smiled. I was happy. Okay, I've seen some of my mates with this doctoral fellow. You dare not call them Ayade Abike Egbeyi without putting the doctor there now. So if they now introduce you as doctoral fellow and you put the doctor before your name, you know it's not PhD. It's not PhD. If you put that doctor before your name, people, you will have gone, people will say, come, is he a PhD holder or is he a doctor of injection? Like my Hausa friends will always say, Dr. Ba Alura. That means doctor without injection. So what you're saying is that you need to, whether they recognize you as a doctoral fellow or a fellow, please remember, care for people and they care about the job. And when the chips are down, it is the leader that they will say, oh, you have done well, accolade for you. And if it is the other way, it is you as well that will get it. So care plus respect will make you to retain that relationship and the people that are with you. So let's manage our relationship. The important aspect of leadership is to turn around and see who is following you. So change your attitude and have more of what? Positive mental attitude. For a simple truth is that we are all paid to produce results. We alone cannot produce results because it's our people that help us to produce results. So what do we need to do? We need to focus our energy on helping people to be successful. Because when they are successful, you also get the bit of it. Not only the bit, you get most of it. Because they will say, that leader is good, that man is good. That is why people under him are doing well. So fellows and doctoral fellow, let's up our ante and get there so that we'll be able to get there. Somebody say, no wonder this attitude is everything. The attitude, somebody said Matthew 5. I don't know. I'm not so good in that area. Matthew 5. So we'll finish up with that later. So let's look at this. It's a quotation I got from somewhere. I believe the single most significant decision I can make on a day-to-day basis is my choice of attitude. It is more important than my past, my education, my bankroll, my successes or failures, fame or pain, what other people think of me or say about me, my circumstances, and my position. Attitude is that single string that keeps me going or cripples my progress. It alone fuels my fire and assaults my hope. When my attitudes are right, there is no barrier too high, no valley too deep, no dream too extreme, no challenge that is too great for me. Because whatever it is, people will rate you and see what and who you are. That is why somebody said somewhere that we have decided to freeze you until you find a cure for your attitude, because they have searched here and there, they've looked at your mental attitude, they've sent people for training, but the person still remain adamant. I give you an example of someone. He said, this is my voice. Do you know what they used to call my father? Agu, lion. This is my voice. I got it from my father. But that was your father's era, generation. This generation will not take it. The workplace now is not like the workplace of before. Even the workplace of before was like your obedient servant. But we need to manage our attitude, because our attitude will make people to get job satisfaction, job involvement. Okay. Yes. Attitude determines your altitude. Yes, I believe. Okay. Your attitude will determine how people have job satisfaction, your job involvement. Because when they say we are working for government, you can see government. You can only see their team lead, organizational commitment, and everything will boil down to organizational behavior as well as our organizational culture. So you see the attitude there is the red one. It's a red flag that will make people to say, I am satisfied. Why is it that people will stay 35 years in service or 60 years of age? Even if they're not satisfied with their team lead, something is making them to stay. Maybe no, there's no job out there, maybe. But even there's no job out there, some of them don't care. They will move. They will move. So it's very important, and let's see how we can transform our attitude to get there. How do I deal with a staff? How do I deal with a staff who's only active when assignment will put money in his pockets? How do you deal with a staff that he can only work when assignment in his pocket? Can you, Aminchi Adeyemi, let's take this question to the class tomorrow. Then we'll be able to hear from people and we'll be able to talk about it. It's a good one because most people will always look at it, what is in it for me? So the right attitude draws people closer and bad attitude chases people away. I agree with that. So Aminchi Adeyemi, please can we take this to the class tomorrow? We will get there, okay? So we'll get your answer and we'll be able to manage it very well. So transforming your attitude, how do you do that? You need to be self-aware and reflect. Self-aware, need to know. Identify your personal attitude. Are you the bottleneck or the neck of the bottle? Tools for self-assessment. There are so many tests out there, psychometric tests that you can use on yourself and whatever. See, because the eye does not see itself. You have to look at the mirror to be able to see. And that man in the mirror may be the bottleneck or the neck of the bottle. So, adopting a growth mindset, embracing challenges as opportunities for growth. Challenges at times help us to determine and to show the resilience in us. So you need to manage that. Encouraging continuous learning and improvement. So continuous and never ending improvement. Get to ruminate, reflect. Am I the problem? Is something wrong with me? I give you an example. There was this lady I met at one of the training sessions. She said, after the session, she came to me and said, Mrs. Igbe, honestly, I don't know why people don't like me. This. I said, what's the problem? You see, when I get to a place, you want to, and the way she came to me, I could smell it. I could smell it. I could smell that she's arrogant. And eventually, in the course of our discussion, she said, anyway, maybe because I, I studied something, and I came out with first class. I said, me, I came with third class. No, it's not third class. So don't think I'm third class person. But even those who came with third class, they're making it. They're making waves. So, and I said, you see, just look at it and see why people don't like you. Okay. So for her, at that point, she telling me that that's because she studied whatever and came out with first class. Already put me off. I didn't even know what to say again. Would I tell her that I also came out with first class upper? Abi? I didn't know what to say, so I just left her. So, for whatever it is, let's look at it. Let's see how we can manage ourselves before we manage others. Because that man in the mirror is you. The problem could be you. So, how do we do with a staff that prefers to always take excuses for crusade and church program, living ongoing work without attending to it? I give you a story. Sonny Babalola. I'll give you a story. I will not answer yes or no. There was this, I had one Oga. He was fond of girls. His office window was overlooking the car park and anybody that entered the premises. So one day, this Oga had one of the side hen in the office. Another side chick was coming in. So he quickly buzzed the secretary, those areas that we had secretary, front desk or secretary. So he told the secretary, say, when that girl comes, tell her I'm not in the office. And secretary, auntie, we used to call her. Auntie said, Oga, I can't lie you. I don't know how to lie. Said, tell her I'm at a meeting. Am I not at the meeting? Say, okay, but to say that you are not in the office. Said, okay. Say, I can't lie. He said, you go and work for Kumuyi. Auntie is Deeper Life. So Oga said, it seems as if you are ready to go and work for Kumuyi. So with this type of person that goes for crusade and church programs, stop. I don't know what to say, but give the person the job and know how to manage that, because religion is very, very sensitive, very, very sensitive, and I wouldn't want to go into. But if it is me, I know what to do. Okay, and I know that some people will also know what to do. So how can we one handle a staff member whose attitude towards job is just for survival? Everybody wants to survive. You need to call that person to order. At times, you see, we need to counsel some of our staff as HR. If you cannot counsel, get someone that is in the same peer group, peer group influence. Okay, peer group influence. They'll be able to talk to that person and whatever. But if the person refuses to change, Jonah the person, Jonah, if you know the story of Jonah, Jonah the person is causing excess luggage and is going to influence others badly if you have the means. But before then, exhaust all possible ways to make the person change. If not, Jonah the person. Okay, I think remuneration or to staff can also affect their attitude to work, positively or negatively. Yes, you're right. Remuneration can also affect them, yes, positively or negatively. But money is not everything, okay? But because some of us that stayed 35 years in service, the salary was not good, but we saw the job as security. At least I can borrow, okay? I can go to a money lender, borrow money, and say at the end of the month I'll pay back. So we looked at it and see what we could do. So at times it may not be the money. We should have motivational packages. Yes, they should. But I don't know how fat the motivational packages will be, because with a bag of rice at 115, 100 and 150. Don't know how to put it again because the thing is confusing. A bag. So I don't know how motivational package that will be. I wonder what will happen in December. But let's move on with our presentation. The right attitude. This was said by Martin Luther King, my great grand uncle. Great grand uncle said, if a man is called to be a street sweeper, he should sweep streets as even as Michelangelo painted, Beethoven composed music, or Shakespeare wrote poetry. These were great people in their own area of influence. So he should sweep streets so well that all the host of heaven and earth will pause to say, here lived a great street sweeper who did his job well. The bottom line is that who did his job well. So what are those strategies for developing a positive attitude in order to do a good job well? So let's quickly look at that. One, emotional intelligence. Two, you build resilience. Never say die. Never say go. Never say quit. Because setbacks are not failures. They help us to learn and be able to come back, bounce back. And emotional intelligence does not say you should be MU. Emotional intelligence says you should examine yourself, self-awareness, and see what are those things that the society expects of me in terms of relationship, in terms of social awareness. I should be aware that nobody wants to relate with somebody that is seen to be fighting on the street. Nobody, as a fellow or doctoral fellow, I'll give you a story. The story goes like this. There was this man, he went to buy fuel during this scarcity. Big man, he had his suit and tie and everything and all. So when he got to the filling station, he bought his petrol and he was about to move. And this Danfo driver just came, yeah, blocked him. Ah, the man came out of his car and said, what, my friend, what do you think you're doing? Ah, move your rubbish and nonsense car from here. The the Danfo said, okay, you don't buy petrol now, come out and make you buy. You don't know how long I done it. So what happened? Eventually, when he was about to say, just if you know who I am, you will not be talking to me like that. Then the downfall driver's conductor came out with a big chest. He said, Oga, now my Oga, you they talk to, so now my Oga, you they talk to, you know if you talk to me. When the man in his suit and tie realized that I should not dirty myself, we're talking about emotional management. He just said, you are lucky today that I'm not in a bad mood. He just reversed his SUV and the 4x4 and everything and took the side and went away. Imagine if he did not manage his emotion very well. for fight, according to Fela. How would he? So when you are talking of emotional management, look at it at the end of it all. As a leader, a fellow, a doctoral fellow, and the skills are down. Say, why did you do that? Say, I didn't know. No. As a fellow and doctoral fellow, you should be on top of your game at any point in time. Ability to use your emotions very well. So I'm sure some of us watch the debate between Kamala and Donald Trump. She got under his skin, knew that they told her that, don't worry, just do something. And you press his button and he will he will fly off the roof. He will fly off the scale. And that was what happened. Don't let anybody get under your skin as a leader to make you behave the way you wouldn't want to. And that you end up saying, I'm sorry, I didn't know. No. Emotional management will not say, BMU. Defend yourself, do what you need to do, but don't go beyond. Don't go beyond don't fall off the cliff that you end up saying, had I known. That is emotional management. So let's quickly look at how attitudes are developed. It's a story. And when you finish, you see that it's a killer attitude. When they say you are not doing something well, take a step back. Stop to take stock. So years ago, Paul Harvey described how Eskimos in the frozen northern pole kills wolves. They take a razor sharp knife, dip it in blood, and freeze it. Next, they bury the handle of the knife in the frozen tundra with the blade sticking up. Wolves, attracted by the scent and the sight of the blood and the coldness from the blood-stained frozen blade, numbs the wolf's tongue. And by the time the wolf, reaches the blade, he is unaware that he's licking a sharp edge and then begins to bleed. As he begins to bleed, he leaks even faster until ultimately he bleeds to death. In many ways, this story describes the way people are lured into the trap of bad behaviors, absenteeism, complaining, lying, misuse of official time and resources. At the early stage, such a worker feels good. But when he becomes neck deep in the bad habit, he or she begins to lose sense of direction, purpose, and reasoning. This may lead such a person to indulge in stronger and more potent vices until they are permanently hooked and eventually thrown out of job. Interestingly enough, the wolf and the person with the bad habit have another trait in common, each to give little or nothing for a huge, great reward. This is impossible. The proportion of what you sow determines the size of what you will harvest. Because this is the killer attitude. The more you do, the more you just say, oh, I'm having a nice time. Please, they can make the organization go under. So we need to manage them well and be able to see as leaders, we need to, okay? We need to. So, okay, somebody say just like Nigerian politician, I know one go there. So let's quickly look at emotional intelligence. These are the characteristics: knowing yourself, be self-motivated, empathy, and managing relationship, mood management. The benefits of emotional intelligence: you make better decisions, you communicate well. Before you say somebody, your head is not correct, you will have known that if somebody says that to you, how would you feel? Work together more effectively, develop tolerance and appreciation for multicultural and diversity. Diversity is natural. It is the spirit of inclusion that we are fighting for. So manage constructive discontent, okay? Disagree without being disagreeable, okay? So it is very important. Become more productive and change proficient. Increase in leadership skills, manage relationship and negative feelings very well. The workplace must be a place of high quality relationship. Most times we spend more of our life in the workplace. How do we manage this? How do we help people to be able to be happy with us in the workplace? Before we end, let's quickly look at this and see what we can do to get others to be in the right place. So what do we need to do? We need to invest in people. As a fellow and doctoral fellow, let's up our ante to be able to get people to be there for us. You judge people not by people judge you by your action, not your intention. Okay. Life is a lesson in forgiveness. To forgive is to set a prisoner free and discover the prisoner is you. To get ahead in life, build a bridge and not a wall, because you won't know what is going on. You need people. Do not end up like concrete, all mixed up and set. So strive for positive change, but change is the only thing that is constant. Take a deep look at your leadership style, how your associates perceive you, what flaws you can identify in yourself or associate, especially working relationship in your organization. Before you start anything, learn how to finish. That man has boxed himself to a corner. How is he going to come out after painting everywhere red? So what will he do? So he started on a wrong note. He started on a wrong note. So before you start anything, think of how endogenous model. No, okay, thank you in economics. Okay, thank you for bringing that to our notice. Yes. So before you start anything, learn how to finish. So let's look at this. Mankind is a tri-dimensional being: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. The answer to being better than anyone else lies in what evaluation yourself in these three areas. Are you physically okay? Are you mentally fine? Or are you emotionally okay? So as a leader of thought, for somebody with doctoral and doctoral fellow, or fellow and doctoral fellow, you need to manage this well. Well-defined job description affect attitude positively, yes. You're right. How do we relate? How do we relate with employees who make us walk on eggshell? Take this to the general class tomorrow, please. We will answer it. Okay. Then these three areas affect our pressure, stress, distress, and pleasure. When we get no pleasure, no, sorry, pleasure we get when we have the right interpersonal relationship. Take a shot of attitude vaccine. How? By taking control of your down and up feelings. This affects the calls we make, when we start, how we finish, and the results we obtain from a relationship. Add integrity, discipline, and organization. Throw in a constant quest for knowledge and learning about how to become even better. It is always said, I want to be better than my yesterday. That is what it is. So in conclusion, before we go, the summary of our key points. We leaders in our lust and desires to assert ourselves, we get ensnared in our own insatiable appetite for power, inordinate ambition to our own peril. Unfortunately, we mistakenly confuse our confidence, resolute, peace, and certainty for weakness. In our lust, desire, and selfish hunger, we haphazardly charge vigorously towards our failure in the office. It is sad. It is sad that when we leave the office, some people cannot even go back to that place. The true critical role of attitude is shaping leadership style. So practical steps for Nigerian leaders, those of us that are here, we're not talking of leaders in National Assembly or politics, is for us leaders to enhance our leadership through what? Attitude transformation. Trust is very important. That is why my cousin, the first Black man in the White House, says people must trust you. They must have faith in you, and they must believe in you before they say, this is a leader we must follow. I want us to quickly go to this this uh, this um, this story, and we will see how we'll manage it. The next CEO. It is called the next CEO. It will take us about few minutes to share. I'm sure you can see this. A successful businessman was growing old and knew it was time to choose a successor to take over their business. Instead of choosing one of his directors or his children, he decided to do something different. He called all the young executives in the company together, and what did he do? He said, it is time for me to step down and choose the next CEO. I have decided to choose one of you. The young executives were shocked, but the boss continued. I am going to give each one of you a seed today, a very special seed. I want you to plant the seed, water it, and come back here 1 year from today. with what you have grown from the seed I have given you. So that is the seed. I will then judge the plants that you bring, and the one I choose will be the next CEO. One man named Jim was there that day. He, like others, received a seed. He went home and excitedly told his wife the story. She helped him get a pot, soil, and compost, and he planted the seed. So, see what happened. Every day, he will water it and watch to see if it had grown. After about 3 weeks, some of the other executives began to talk about their seeds and the plant they were beginning to grow. Jim kept checking his seed, but nothing ever grew. 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks went by, still nothing. By now, others were talking about their plants, but Jim didn't have a plant. He felt like a failure. 6 months went by, still nothing in Jim's pot. He just knew he had killed his seed. Everyone else had trees and tall plants, but he had nothing. Jim didn't say anything to his colleagues. However, he just kept watering and fertilizing the soil. So he so wanted the seed to grow. A year finally went by, and all the young executives of the company brought their plans to the CEO for inspection. Jim told his wife that he wasn't going to take an empty pot. She asked him to be honest about what happened. Jim felt sick to his stomach. It was going to be the most embarrassing moment of his life, but he knew his wife was right. He took the empty pot to the boardroom. Let's see what happened. Jim arrived. He was amazed at the variety of plants grown by the other executives. They were beautiful in all shapes and sizes. Jim put his empty pot on the floor, and many of his colleagues laughed. A few felt sorry for him, but when the CEO arrived, he surveyed the room and greeted his young executive. Jim tried to hide in the back. So what happened? Mine, what great plants, trees, flowers you have grown, said the CEO. Today, one of you will be appointed the next CEO. All of a sudden, the CEO spotted Jim at the back of the room with his empty pot. He ordered the financial director to bring him to the front. Jim was terrified. He thought, the CEO knows I'm a failure. Maybe he will have me fired. Jim got to the front. The CEO asked him, what had happened to his seat? Jim told him the story. The CEO asked everyone to sit down except Jim. He looked at Jim and then announced to the young executive, behold your next CEO. His name is Jim. Jim couldn't believe it. Jim couldn't even grow his seat. How could he be new the CEO? The others asked. Then the CEO said, 1 year ago, I gave everyone in this room a seed. I told you to take the seed, plant it, water it, bring it back to me today. But I gave you all boiled seeds. They were dead. It was not possible to grow them, for them to grow. All of you except Jim have brought me trees, plants, and flowers. When you found that the tree will not grow, you substituted another seed for the one I gave you. Jim was the only one with the courage and honesty to bring me a pot with my seed in it. Therefore, he's the one who will be the next CEO. The moral of the story: if you plant honesty, you will reap trust. If you plant goodness, you will reap friends. If you plant humility, you will reap greatness. If you plant perseverance, you will reap contentment. If you plant consideration, you will reap perspective. If you plant hard work, you will reap success. If you plant forgiveness, you will reap reconciliation. So be careful what you plant now. It will determine what you will reap later. Whatever you give to life, life gives back to you. Live your core values and reap the returns. That is the story of the CEO. So we look at it and see, what can we do? So the CEO has taught us a great lesson in leadership. We need to trust one another. We need to believe in one another. We need to show that we are members of this great institute, and we all will be there, and it will be a better place for us in the workplace as well as all of us. So thank you so much. And that is what we come up with today at the end of this session. For those I said should please bring the question to the class tomorrow, you will send to us and we will be there to answer with you. So the slides will be shared. We hope we can get the materials. Yes, you will get the materials. Effective reward system. How to release it will make us work on next year. We'll get to that tomorrow. We should have an effective reward system. Yes. We please hope we can get the materials. Yes, you will. These slides can be shared since some of us are having challenges with our network. Yes, you will get Then can we get materials? Yes, powerful story. Thank you. I love the story. Great story. Thank you so very much. And tomorrow, I can better address the unique challenges faced by HR professionals in the public sector, especially in public policy formulation and implementation. The president will be with us tomorrow. You will please ask him that question. This CEO is 1 in a million. Yes, we appreciate. Thank you so much. Thank you. And that is our presentation today. And we hope we'll be able to make sense of what we have done. We said this is for our doctoral and doctoral fellow and fellows. Thank you so much. We'll take other questions tomorrow because I don't want us. I know some of us have been at work since all day long. Thank you. And over to you, Madam Tessie, and we'll see you. Tessie, Madam Tessie, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you very much for that lecture. Thank you, ma. To the inductees,